Hey, do you want to talk about him?
storms
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
down
Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
shore.
off the dome.
Pirates in the port of paradise. Hey, ruined mariners marinated, swinging one north with their heads and fingers sore. Viscera and gore in paradise. Pirates in the bay, taking what they may. Yarn and gold aboard, what decorates indoors. Taking home decor. Please not a word more. It's the Pirates of Paradise.
It's definitely I tend to think that less of the crackhead phenomenon, like where you're like scraping up a weed from like your carpet or something, has to do with that, and
Yeah.
has more to do with being broke. Because I was like, I turned my coffee machine into like a pour over machine because the
Yes.
filter basket and the system that lets it drain into the coffee pot still works, but I
Mhm.
guess like the percolator or whatever doesn't. Um, so
For
yeah,
like the, do you?
it
Never
doesn't
mind.
need to be
Continue. I'm
plugged
sorry.
in at all right
Oh,
now.
her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
So, but I don't even know. I don't even
No,
know.
I mean, I don't think that's. I don't think your use of your. I don't think that repurposed, because that's just. You're just doing You're just doing some of the steps for the machine. You know.
Yeah,
You're just.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter in that context. But I do. I would agree with you. Like the majority of the. Well, there's this much space between my desk and my wall, and I didn't notice it before just now. That's like there we are. Okay, I fixed it. But um, yeah, I do think a lot of that phenomenon is related to not having any money,
oh,
just to get, or at least having a dangerously low amount of money.
speaking of which, I want to talk about Exhibit. I want to talk about Exhibit a little bit.
Or,
So,
okay, okay.
so there was he keeps posting shit. Like it seems like his life is always it's constantly interesting, as I would imagine having money being. Maybe I don't know if I could name you an Exhibit song other than like one that he's on with like I think Dr. Dre and like the one that's
I
like
couldn't name you an exhibit song. Yeah.
bum, bum. Oh yeah, what's the difference between me and you? I think is Exhibit.
Oh, heard. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I yeah.
But yeah, so he has a weed brand called Napalm, and like I guess amongst the uh, Stop Asian Hate, I think it was pulled from sub stores in Cali, which is like the most like I wish we had that level of like could give a fuck. But like any state that has street weed, you're like, oh, okay, I don't care. Like this could be called any number of slurs, and
No, no.
it would still be better than the dude melting the plastic bag corner around it. Like I don't know.
Yes, yes, yeah. Oh man, when they take like, okay, listeners, really quickly, if you're not familiar with this phenomenon, let's say you're trying to purchase some dried plant matter that happens to be 100% legal wherever you happen to be standing. You know,
Some poopery.
they'll take it. They'll take it. They'll bundle it. You know, let's say it's a dried dandelion. You're going to make some soup, right? Here's your bundle. Take a Walmart bag, any bag, like this bag full of garbage with less garbage in it. You twist it, and then you light it with fire.
There
You
might
light
as
it with
well
fire
be garbage in it.
to ensure here. So you go like to ensure that. So let me create some carcinogens really quickly. Imagine just and then it goes into your plant matter
Yeah. No.
and you ingest it later.
You ever thought I want to turn these real flowers into the plastic ones?
Exactly, exactly. If you are you ever like I don't know if you decide that you're experiencing something that doesn't have enough civilization in it. But I do think that I mean wasn't I think that's a quibbly thing to do in within the context of quote unquote stopping Asian hate.
Yeah, that seems like the like I don't like if the argument is that it's going to like yes,
It
napalm's
was
bad,
called
which is why I think it's illegal now. I think it's illegal under like international law. I couldn't say for
Wait, what
sure.
is?
Like napalm or like
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I'm
defoliants
pretty
in
sure.
general, like that sort of
Well, actually,
idea. Isn't
I
that?
couldn't tell you. I say I'm pretty sure. I couldn't tell you either way.
Yeah, I guess it's illegal until major players use it, and
Because
then other major players fight a war against them and want to bring up a lot of accessory charges. I don't know.
according to Wikipedia, international law does not specifically prohibit the use of napalm or other incendiaries against military targets, but use
Military
against civilian
targets, yeah,
populations was banned
that makes sense.
in 1980.
Okay.
That being said, if it were called like railroad spike or something like that, I could see how that would be problematic. And that's not. There are many
Isn't
problematic names.
Trainwreck OG a strain?
And let me see. I'm sorry.
That's that shit. That's the shit that Amtrak was smoking when it went around the curve.
It's like that's the shit. Hold on, and I want everyone listening to this to understand that that this is all great fun, but I can understand if there were a problem if they said that that's the shit that came out of those backyard furnaces. That's that's what you use to smell steel in your backyard. You throw some of this into the bloom, as it were, and
Your steel gets so fucked up it doesn't remember what energy state it's in.
and I think that there are many that really was a good bit, and I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that was good. That was pretty good. But
the world
okay,
is
yeah.
better.
So I guess in addition to the fact that I don't even know the extent to which it was pulled because again, I don't think it's really like that big of an issue. Maybe like so, it seems more like part of a bigger contract or something. Maybe because like yeah, like business negotiation. Maybe it just wasn't moving either because I don't know.
This is true.
It did seem a little
I'm not
bit
aware of the
gimmicky. Like
microeconomics of.
I wasn't sure if it was like it's like what, just the packaging looked like a little napalm canister. I'm like, but like that seems, is the entire thing full or is it just the top bit? It seemed like an eighth jar or whatever is way more space efficient.
I'm sure.
Like yeah,
I'm
plastic
sure.
use efficient.
And I don't know. I guess my business advice as a non-professional to them would be to rebrand the same flour as something like phosphorus, I suppose, because phosphorus is actually illegal. If you own white phosphorus, good for you. But you know which side of the law you're on, and, and I think that would be solid branding. I would purchase that, and I think that
Sarin gas.
I was talking to my shrink about. Well, no, not about that bit specifically the other day, but I should talk to my shrink about that bit just because it's really funny. And it's honest, it's too funny for the show. I think if we had a Patreon, listeners, you and your sirens of the fucking distance.
Patreon might just be OnlyFans for bits.
I think it is. I think it 100% is.
Yeah.
And if I can share an internal thought, I've been thinking a lot. I haven't subscribed to Tim Dillon's Patreon yet, but I have been trying to think of a funny message. To the extent that I would say that I'm a pretty thoroughly heterosexual dude, but it is important to me that if I join Tim Dillon's Patreon that he thinks I'm handsome, right? I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is.
One of the nicest experiences I've ever had buying merchandise was buying the t-shirt for his show and then being followed by one of his like weird heroin addicted New York fans. And I still get DMs from the dude. So
if you're listening, thank you for listening. But I do Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel, I honestly, I think that odd neurotic thing really cements me as a member of his fan base to a certain extent, because that does seem to be I guess not a trait to the, because I don't really know any of them outside of us, I guess, but I don't know. I guess it's that sort of, I kind of want to say it's like in the movie The Devil Wears Prada, where like you have you form a sort of Stockholm syndrome relationship with an abusive mentor or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the only scene I remember from that movie was Roofy.
What?
There was like
Just,
wasn't there like a scene in that movie where Anne Hathaway gets like roofied?
oh my, I don't know. I
I
really
think
don't know.
so. I think so.
I can refute that happens, but
Yeah.
I don't. Man, Jesus! If any of our 11 listeners know, fucking Anne Hathaway gets roofied in
Yeah.
the Devil Wears Prada, let us
Also,
know.
there's like a movie that I've been trying to find for forever. That's like one of those like not HBO Max, but like one of the like on-demand movies I watched uh, after school, like just because I was like, this is better than I don't know practicing the trombone for 30 minutes. Uh, but
Yeah.
uh, I think whatever movie I still haven't no recollection of like what it might be called, but has like something to do with summer, but like I think it's kind of hard to find because of Phineas. The plot of the movie is a dude sits on a chick's lawn for like an entire summer and just is like, but we're gonna fuck, right? We're gonna fuck, we're gonna
Whoa,
fuck, we're gonna fuck. Which is
whoa.
like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's yeah. Okay. It's
yeah,
about a problematic bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know who
But
the main who the leads are?
I have no idea. I don't know if they have any like real actors in it. Um,
No.
but I think that they stole a scene from Say Anything because I thought that the movie might be Say Anything because there's a scene where I guess in that movie John Cusack like goes onto somebody's lawn or the equivalent and like just holds up a boom box and then she sucks
Oh
his dick.
yes, yes. I'm familiar with
Um,
that scene, but not the film.
yeah, and there's a very similar scene in that movie which I believe is probably just ripped or homaged or whatever.
Mhm.
I also don't really have a sense. Like I thought that the movie A Knight's Tale was like I don't know, like a historical piece for a while, but it's like basically a sports comedy. Like it's basically like Dodgeball the movie, and
I don't think I've seen A Knight's Tale, but I'm roughly familiar with Dodgeball.
like
Yeah.
there's a scene where this chick oh yeah 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 blacksmith engraves Nike swoosh into Heath Ledger's armor.
Okay. Okay.
And
That seems like okay.
I was like, I didn't get that. I didn't get it. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Makes sense. I don't
Yeah.
know. I was like, how's and then I think like the armor gets like super like adamantium properties or something. Like he can
Oh,
get hit
after
in the
yeah, post
chest and
switching.
nothing happens. It's like I didn't feel anything. I didn't break any ribs. Like, and I was like, wow.
So
I was like, wow. Like, what that swoosh do to do that? Like I didn't. I was
it
like,
was a
is there
magic
like
swoosh.
some sort of like material process? Like, does
It's
all of the pressure just exit through that?
it's some sort of rune. It has to be. It has to be some sort of I don't know, some sort of Germanic. I actually no, I was going to say like a Proto-Saxon, but I don't know anything about people or geography, so cancel that statement.
Yeah.
But there's a Joey Diaz bit that I hope we could do in the podcast, but it's about the Nike swoosh and its origin. It's I recommend looking it up. It involves a gentleman named Mr. Martini. But the I there are I don't know. I dislike that sort of. It makes me feel like sort of a schizophrenic when I have that desire for like a phantom media element and I can't exactly place it.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
hold on.
I did find one of those movies in the last year, and we're talking, of course, about Cuentos de Navidad, which is about this movie. It was this movie about. I think it's a Spanish movie, like shot in Spain.
Mhm.
Um, but it's like about a woman who robs a bank and then is in a pit, and then kids like break her legs and throw canned food at her while she's in the pit, and they're like, "Give us all the fucking money." She's like,
Wait,
"I'll
oh,
kill
dude,
you."
wait, the Santa Claus thing
Yeah,
you
the
told me
Santa
about
Claus
before?
thing. Yeah. I
Oh,
found it. I
Christ,
found it.
right,
I'm so
yes, yes,
happy.
yes.
So happy I found that one.
Mhm.
But
How did you watch that? Did you do it questionably?
it's just on YouTube. It's just on YouTube.
Oh, heard. Okay. Can
Yeah.
you send me a link to that? If you, well,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I would definitely like to. I definitely like to check it out. I definitely would. That speaking of Spanish movies, but I guess the creator of Chilean Spanish movies, but I've been meaning to, not been meaning to, but I've been thinking more about reading Jodorowsky's The Inkle because I didn't. The Inkle is a series, graphic novel, question mark. It's some kind of comic, whatever, that apparently Jodorowsky created. I honestly have no idea. But I have heard his name and connection to it, and I remember it being very. I read a preview of it at a free comic book day some years ago. Oh man, I forgot the free comic book day is happening soon. Everyone,
Woo!
the first Saturday in May, go to a comic book store. Yeah, just go, just go. But anyway,
You can pick up the Red Skull comic that I assume is just fan fiction for Jordan Peterson. I don't know. I've heard about that vaguely. I don't know. Do you know anything about that?
wait, about which thing?
So apparently, like Jordan Peterson is like a, a character archetype for the Red Skull now or something.
What?
Yeah, they just have like a bunch of like 12 rules for life gags with him, where he's like ultimate order.
that I'm not
Yeah,
familiar with it, but that
yeah,
actually does seem pretty funny. I see how you could definitely do that.
yeah. I don't know.
I oh well no I'm sorry
That's on the Clip channel. It's on the Clip channel.
I just know I forgot what I was saying entirely and I was trying to get back to it.
It's
It didn't work out.
I don't know enough about it to what do you call it? Faithfully take any stance on it within that, but
I don't either. Yeah. But do you? What was I going to ask? I swear that I had like a targeted question.
Oh yeah.
But,
yeah. Movies. Comics.
Oh, I just wanted to read Jodorowsky's The Inkle. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh right, yes, free comic book day, etc., etc., etc. I don't know what happens.
I forget that he is like an artist. I don't know if he was the one who drew the comic or if he just storyboarded it and probably had some input on the design. But like, he is a very visual artist. Like,
this is true.
I mean, his movies don't have a lot in terms of plot. I mean, it compared to like the visual element. Yeah.
Exactly. So, The Inkle is a French graphic novel series written by Alejandro Jodorowsky and illustrated by Jean Giraud. Anyway, The Inkle, with its first page, was released as
Mobius.
Une aventura de John Defool, a John Defool adventure, etc., etc. So this.
Hey, it is Mobius. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that name.
Yeah, so apparently there's a Hodoverse, or a fictional place in which his science fiction comics take place. So The Inkle includes and expands the concepts and artwork from the abandoned film project Dune.
Oh, yes. Because I was going to say, I've seen a version of that. I've seen, if you watch like Jodorowsky's Dune, which is like a documentary, he has like a whole fucking flip book of just concept art. So I'm glad that that's seeing some use, even if it's just that.
I want to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Still pretty hype. Still pretty hype for Dune the movie to come out. Like that. That's gonna be a good one.
I'm afraid that it'll be okay. So, first I want to say that though I've been lent a lot of comic books. I have been lent a lot of comic books, and so I should be. But that Jodorowsky, like The Inkle, is media that I'm excited to interact with when I get the chance. But I guess. I don't know. I would like to read Frank Herbert's novel. I haven't. I would like to. just because I hear I've heard good things about it, but I don't know. I'm afraid. I don't know how much I trust modern movies. What studio is making it? Do you know?
I'm not sure, and but I do believe the director. It might be, yeah. I forget who. It's like it's a good director, I believe. But
Yeah, it's not Abrams. It's not.
I was gonna say Abrams, but
I don't know that it's not Abrams. I
oh,
just thought that
actually,
it was not Abrams.
Hans Zimmer score. I have no idea who Denis Villeneuve is. French Canadian. Okay, French. I was good. French director, maybe. Oh, Blade Runner 2049.
Heard. I haven't. I have heard good things about it from a trusted recommender, but I haven't seen it myself. I don't know. With the Hans Zimmer score, what's the likelihood that it ends up in Interstellar Rip? Do you think?
Let's see. Arrival, Sicario, and then I don't know if there's anything else in here that I can.
Did I watch Arrival? I might have just watched a bunch of videos about Arrival, and so I might just think that I've seen.
Yeah. And then it looks like just a bunch of other like more indie films. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What was your question?
No. I guess I don't know. I'm worried that. Do you think that it's likely? I don't know. What's like with the Zimmer score and everything? I mean, not with the Zimmer score and everything, but what's the likelihood that it ends up sort of an Interstellar rip to the extent that I didn't see Ad Astra. I watched a video that very humorously and thoroughly criticized Ad Astra, but they made it seem it's a fatherhood driven space drama, let's say, and so I don't know. Are you worried? Well, not worried because that's the wrong term, but I think that. Do you think it'll be like? Do you think it'll have some zhuzh? Do you think we can expect it to be significant media?
I think it'll be a fun watch, like regardless, like at least visually.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure
because I think it is a major studio that's putting it out. If Hans Zimmer's attached to it, it has cash. It has cash.
No, exactly. People they have an investment they need a return on, so it's definitely going to be like enjoyable.
And I heard good things about some of the casting, but what I also understand about Dune adaptations, and this, I've never read the book, but I've heard that the book is, it's like maybe Bible movies, like how faithful of an interpretation is this Bible movie to the entire contents? Like I don't know. Is there a section of the movie where they just sit down and have a montage of like begat?
We know that. We do know that Christ, the body of Christ. We use forensic archaeology to determine that Christ was identical to William Dafoe. We know that's exactly what he looked like.
Oh my God, William Dafoe would make a really good Christ. Because I don't know why, but I feel like he has like one of those chest divots.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about his chest divot having, but he did play Jesus in The Last Temptation of Christ or something.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie. It's a movie.
I guess I haven't seen it because I'm visualizing Green Goblin doing like the woo on his board, and I guess that position would also work for hanging on a cross.
Oh man, that's fucking funny. It really is. Do you? I guess. Let me think.
Oh yeah, I was gonna maybe wrap up the exhibit thing. So then,
I'm sorry. Yes.
I guess I don't even know. I don't know the correct way to like describe, because part of my thought. Okay, so his store got robbed.
Oh! This is in relation to the video that you sent me. I 100% when we were talking. I 100%.
Oh yeah, my bad.
No, you're totally cool.
I need to loop it together for me.
So
his store got robbed. Everybody in the comments said inside job, but I think everybody on the internet says that. But it did look like the people were wearing hoods. They seemed to know where all the cameras were because they like turned their backs and walked towards them. And so they're like, okay. Maybe they know what's up.
Yeah, because if it's a private warehouse already, then it seems like it would
I
be
think
a difficult joint to case from the outside.
yeah,
Question mark.
it was hard. I couldn't tell if it was a warehouse or if it was like a retail location that he had ownership of. But
It
either way,
looked
and
like
I also don't
the
know how
latter.
insurance works for that because I know like for the longest time the weeds, and I think still in some cases like they can't work with credit card companies because credit card companies are like we're federally regulated, federal law, still illegal. Um,
Mhm.
or they just like have a private policy like we don't do like we try to avoid financing narco terrorism or something. Uh,
Yeah,
but
because I guess if you were to replace that product, that would be essentially.
yeah, yeah. Um, and so yeah, but so like I guess I could see a scenario in which exhibits like can't sell this product anymore, get it out of my store, uh, so that I can use my insurance. I pay that premium for a reason.
Exactly.
I guess, and if he does have insurance, the premiums are probably ridiculous because yeah,
Oh, I'm sure. And to a certain extent, I mean,
yeah,
I mean, what is crime, right? That's to a certain extent what is crime.
yeah. I thought it was funny though because like the next day after the robbery, he was still like he was using that to like advertise his products,
Oh,
and people were like, "Oh, he was such a
inside
hustler! Like that's
job,
so
dude.
good."
Yeah, I guess yeah, you can't really fault anyone for doing an inside job, I suppose,
Yeah, yeah,
unless it's like I don't know, yeah, like a government or something.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
but
that was interesting.
do you? Well, I guess one. How did you? Well, I guess did this just sort of like percolate up through like media? I suppose.
Oh, and I'm subscribed to him because he dropped an album in August, I think, and I saw promotion for that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I haven't heard anything about this dude in a minute, but
Sure, okay,
yeah.
that's neat.
Imagine Mike Tyson got robbed like that though,
Oh
because like he
Christ.
has a whole weed business now too.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like he Mike
Wait,
Tyson like that's like a whole sketch idea. It's just Mike
hey
Tyson
Rob.
getting
I know I
his
can't
weed
even
store
do. I
robbed.
can't do it. I'm
He's
not
like,
even gonna try.
okay,
John, can
I
you?
want to do Iron
Yeah.
Sheik for him for some reason, but uh,
Wait, what is his? I'm sorry. What is his speech impediment? He does. He does
it's
S
like
at
kind of a
the.
lisp, but like
He kind of
I feel like he'd be
Mike Tyson.
Mike
Would
Tyson.
he say his own name as I'm
Mike,
sorry. I don't mean
yeah,
to make fun of Mike Tyson.
I would start doing a Michael Jackson impression and then like lick your teeth. So
Okay.
yes.
This is so much. Ah, Christ. This is hard hitting media. This is
Yeah,
really
this is
important.
art. Yeah.
This is no, yeah. But it,
We worked with a team of sound technicians to recreate what Mike Tyson's
I
voice
can't
would sound
believe I
like in the
got
event of a
robbed,
robbery.
dog. No,
And what? What?
they stole. They knew where the security cameras were.
They stole Fizzy lifting drink.
They they took all my they took all my name. I can't. Fuck.
They took all my gas.
I I was so scared.
They hit a lick.
I was so scared, dog. I think they were prejudiced against me. I don't know. I fuck. I was shivering anyway. Okay, I'm done with this bit. But Christ in heaven,
Those
Mike Tyson,
tigers
please.
didn't do anything. I mean, I don't know why I just turned it into like, uh, yeah, no.
Mike Tyson is a hard accent to do for a long time, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, I'm not good at doing voices, I suppose.
Also, just like the way he speaks,
That's true.
yeah, it's interesting. It's all love. Is something he
Like,
says, but like I couldn't put together most sentences, like to recreate the effects of like cocaine, tigers being a world heavyweight champion, and also brain trauma. Ooh, I don't know if I can do that accent off the bat, along with like I don't know some good lines.
I agree with you. I agree, especially, but I think that yes, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I could so I guess I could talk about that meeting I had the other day and like the context of, or I could spin the wheel, or both could happen. I guess I don't know.
You can tell us about it while you spin the wheel. I don't know.
So okay. So I'll start off. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I had this. The meeting started at like 1. I didn't realize that I had this meeting until 12:48 p.m. or so. Like I had just returned from running an errand. I was cleaning my kitchen, and I was excited to mop because I purchased a new mop at a Family Dollar. And I was like, I'll use this mop, and I'll get the fuck rid of it. It'll be great, and my floors will be clean, and I won't have to worry about the mop. And so I'm thinking, man, fuck this meeting, fuck every part of this meeting, man. I didn't even know this was supposed to be happening. I should just not go to this meeting, right? But then I realized I always jones to have something to do, and why would I not go to the only meeting that I've ever I guess to the only set of meetings I've ever had to go to, let's say, outside of like Bread Bash. And so, yeah. And so I also had no idea what it was about. I thought we were meeting with a lawyer. We need to, just as a board, to figure out how some things legally work as being like a nonprofit, like what practices we should follow. We were going to meet with a lawyer who specializes in nonprofits, but we turned out I met with a cat named Dylan. It was me, Adam, the other board member, and a cat named Dylan. Dylan from the Accessible Prosthetics Initiative. I think it's a company affiliated with Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And their whole goal is to make, I guess, to further the accessibility of like prosthetics to people who need them. Just because prosthetics are super expensive. Have you ever tried to make a fake hand? It's like even a hook is not like a hook is a difficult thing to make a little bit. And well, more so than a hook is a difficult thing to make. It's that people will charge you an arm and a leg for a hook. And so
and once they've got you on the hook,
they said, once they've got you on the hook, what are you just gonna go back to stumping it, you know?
Yeah.
No offense to if you are a person who happens to be missing any of your appendages. Shout out to RJ for listening to this podcast.
I think he works for the. I think we can roll that bit into the NSA bit because I think he has some.
Oh shit!
Industry connections or affiliations with military / computer intelligence. So yeah.
Of course. And honestly, yeah. Yes, but so I guess essentially he wants to. There's like a fair amount of like DIY effort toward making your own prosthetics, especially because like the good prosthetics that aren't, I guess, a cup and a stick, let's say, in the case of like a leg or something, or a hook in the case of a hand, are really expensive, and even those aren't replaced all that frequently. At least that seems to be what I understand after talking to Dylan. So he wants to see how he wants to work with us to put together I guess a directory of information and resources about, I guess, the like specific the prosthetists and there's another term for the exact sort of medical professional that you're supposed to see about like rehabilitative physical care. It's like it's like a physiatrist or something. Yeah, so like prosthetists and like physiatrists and other niche medical people that that people who don't need advanced physical therapy don't need to see all the time. So creating a resource like a library of that information, as well as best practices and open source designs and whatnot for making your own prosthetics. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I have like a huge interest in prosthetics. Back in like sophomore year, when I thought I was going to be for sure in out of a university or nearly out of a university by now, one of the things that I intended to major in was, or one of the options of majors that I was most drawn toward was biomedical engineering, just because the interface between people and their technology is super duper fascinating and arguably one of the linchpin for human advancement, roughly.
Mhm.
But
I mean, yeah, you can take
yeah,
that with like any. You can do like very human kind things like prosthetics, or you could be like,
this is true.
how do we make this fucking make your brain sad without it?
Yeah, yes. There's a lot that you can do. There's a lot that you
Yeah.
can do along like
Also,
in every industry.
quick interjection. What do you call
Mhm.
a sex worker who specializes in amputees? A prosthet.
And, and for more bits like this, we refer to our Patreon.
Patreon.
But the it was very interesting. It was very interesting, just because I guess that I was just talking the other day about. I'd say the meeting was really productive. I returned his email that he sent me yesterday, sometime this morning, because I'm not that great a person. But uh, we'll correspond with that more, and hopefully something like really interesting and productive in a community way will come out of it. But this particular prosthetics development is interesting just because I had no idea of the content of this meeting beforehand, and I was talking to my mom about how she created the opportunity essentially for us to tour a prosthetics company called Osor in Iceland. And so that happened in 2018. And Osor makes really good prosthetics. You're familiar with Oscar Pistorius, Murder's Girlfriend Has No Legs, Fastest Man Without Him?
Yeah, I
They
am.
made again. They made his running blades, right? And so we got to see like the water jet cutters they used to make his running blades and whatnot. And so they I was a dick the entire time because of anxiety, of course, but not of course, but that's sort of the way the news goes, and it's neat to hopefully have a. I was thinking about how I would begin to bridge the gap between me and that person to the extent that that would be a useful contact,
Mhm.
and it seems like this new development might be in like a
Yeah.
surprising step forward in that direction. Yeah.
No, but also, I mean, I don't know how the financing works, but I don't think anybody has like a problem with people getting prosthetics at little or no cost. Um, like in regard, I don't like in regards to insurance coverage or something.
Oh, I'm
But
sure.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just slowly. I guess also making them more affordable is like There's a technical end to that, but I definitely like in general the idea of like depreciation tax credit for like individuals, even if you're not like registered as a business. So like if you're a business, you can buy a bunch of cars and then write off year one, uh, that you like on your taxes all of the depreciation credit that you can get over like 5 years, for that vehicle on like a single tax bill. So you can just literally keep buying fleets of vehicles and writing off like the depreciation on your taxes. I like the idea of being able to do that with like medical implements. Like be like, hey, like I got my eyes fixed. I'm gonna write that off. Like I don't know. like
Oh no, like fair.
like yeah. Like I'm gonna need some change back. But I don't know. I guess the goal is to get to a point where you don't need to fuck with tax laws. But I would like it if you could fuck with tax laws in a way. Yeah. I guess if
Is
businesses can do it, I
it
would like it if people could do it for good reasons. Like, and then maybe
fair?
you could tightly
What's
control. I don't know.
what sort of implications do you think that would have? Because when you said that we shouldn't have to fuck with tax law necessarily. Like, shouldn't I guess to a certain extent, tax law is sort of like one of the fundamental laws that binds
Mm,
like I guess a
yeah.
civilization to the extent that civilization is law bound or whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
because
I
that's
guess income tax pretty recent, but all other forms of taxation or like
oh yes.
duties, fees, not necessarily. Um, but
But I mean in the way that like
yeah,
the individual's contribution to society is right like the regulation of that in some way is probably like one of the first laws. I haven't read like
yeah,
Hammurabi's code or anything, probably. So,
yeah.
but do you think that like
I mean, I like that sort of thing because like if you can have tax laws, I don't know if we've had this discussion on the pod before, but like my thought is like, who pays for the roads? I don't drive. I don't drive. why do I have to pay for the roast? I guess because all my food gets to me that way. But I would rather like we have, I don't know. I guess there's yeah, it's a whole complex thing. But I was gonna say want better trains so that cars don't like so that commercial shipping doesn't have to use public infrastructure. Um, well, I guess the driving public
That would just
infrastructure.
be your money would be going towards supporting a better public infrastructure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then also just like I have to imagine that commercial trucking is like way worse on roads than individual drivers, like just because of the weight and the like frequency.
probably. I guess that would make sense. Yeah.
It seems absurd to me that the trucks use the same road as normal drivers. Like I don't know.
Well, and also from I guess the I don't know. Do you think that to what extent are like roads designed for? To what extent is our highway system designed for the movement of large freight vehicles? I don't know, but to what extent?
I
That's
think it is. I think the only reason we have a highway system is because FDR was like, we need it for the military in case Japan ever attacks us, and we need to get uh, ships or like tanks from New York to LA, like across the U.S. And
fair.
so I think
Um,
all of our infrastructure, you can like at least the federal highways, you're supposed to be able to land planes on, and probably also move tanks through, or like
Sure.
other, if not tanks, personnel.
The reason that I ask is I bet like I imagine I was going to say that I imagine you could design a set of independent roads for your heavy freight. But the reason that I asked you that question first is because I assume that a large portion of our at least like biggest roads are sort of designed for that. But I think that's the sort of thing that like probably self-driving vehicles will assist a lot with road maintenance. Probably like
Hmm.
or I think that like there's going to be a sort
I
of
think it'll.
co-evolutionary spiral between self-driving vehicles and intelligent road systems.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, because like
yeah.
even once you have, if not a
Also, I'm materials are
universal
getting better.
specification, but like once you have all of those variables like already in a computer system, I think it's way easier to calculate the traffic on those roads and like the wear patterns and stuff, and then maybe even have automated like like automated road repair vehicles just sort of
Oh,
service those
probably.
interstitial like yeah.
Exactly. Just like during street cleaning day, all the self-driving cars know just to give this car a certain amount of berth, right? And it
Hmm.
just lays down and automatically cures, or not like, but like rapidly cures some new section of I don't know, future concrete or whatever, future
I
asphalt.
like the idea that like the self-driving cars, like when people say autonomous vehicles, like that your car is just like backpacking or something, trying to find
It's
itself,
just
and so like you wait like 3 hours, and you're like, okay, the car's, why is it covered in bird shit and grass? Okay, at least I'm not paying a mortgage on this vehicle.
fair,
Thank
fair,
fucking
fair.
goodness.
Well, that would be. I wonder how the law would work for self. Like, because hear me out. If I buy a self-driving truck, right? Like,
Hmm.
can I send my truck to do deliveries for a pizza restaurant? And yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I suppose does that make it a different object from like I guess from I guess yeah from like a tax write off perspective than if you are like I guess you should probably be able to write off your own car and I guess you can write off your gas depending on the sort of
Yeah,
job that you are employed in
yeah,
question mark.
your mileage, I think.
Oh, okay, heard.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. I think that like smart objects like autonomous like I think autonomous robots generally, as they become more commonplace, are going to be like, or I'm sorry, as they appear in. Oh, I messed up something. Okay, I just realized this. This is supposed to be up. Like, okay, this is upside down.
This is
This
just
one
a
right here
weapon?
is upside down. I just saw it. I'm supposed to flip that. There's no way I can do it now. It's totally fine. Um,
This is just a weapon?
it's. Oh yeah. So this is the maquito that I'm making for George. This is how it ended
Oh,
up for the
that's
most part.
nice.
I still need to.
This looks like a more lethal version of the frat spanking paddles.
You know what? It might. That's not the worst classification. It really isn't. But I think that I'm going to order. I don't really want to spend the money that I would have to order some Kevlar line, but I'm going to, and I think that's what I'm going to end up wrapping this with. Or I might have some Kevlar somewhere that I can still use, just because Kevlar is it's a material that I like using when I can, and if I were going to give something to someone, I'd prefer that it'd be maximally useful.
Mm-hmm. Did you stain this already, or
not yet?
Plans for that?
I'm probably just going to end up rubbing this with
Mm-hmm.
I might just rub it with canola oil. I don't know. I'm not really. I've taken very few projects to the finishing steps, just because for the most part I'm like an iterator, move oner sort of dude. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is sanded to maybe 220 right now, and I think that's about as sanded as it's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely don't want a slick grip on.
Exactly.
But
hold on. This is another tangent. Hold on. I
absolutely,
guess
go for it.
So, hold on. But what we were talking about before, I noticed this horrible imperfection. Ah, Christ. I
guess what I was gonna add to that is I bet that, in the same way that driverless cars will give us a bunch of road data in a way that's maybe more uniform, and then also the means to implement that sort of traffic pattern data and stuff to solve more shortest path problems and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Grubhub has some really good data on that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just all those independent contractors, all the cars and stuff. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting because they already sort of have that. They already have
definitely
not a self-driving food delivery system, but yeah.
That's probably why data scientists are so valuable right now in the current job market, just because these people are okay, I guess we have this repository of information that we might be able to turn into money for pills, right? We need someone who can turn this into, we need someone who can take all these numbers and turn them into some pill money.
We need somebody who can crunch the numbers and then chop them up and then put them on a number line.
And they just... But so okay, but now that we have I guess finished that for the most part, I want to say that oh man, so I don't dude, hold on, give me 1 second. So I forget what my other tangent was. I forget what I was going to say. I think that oh yeah, we should definitely. I think that relates to my my previous off-air discussion. We should start surveilling places independently. I think that if you are capable of placing a subtle bug in a place or skimming, is this a crime? Hold on, am I before I say the statement I'm about to say, I don't want to, because I feel like it would be not good to. Well, depending on what we title, because from what I understand, based on the Tim Dillon Lex Friedman episode of the Lex Friedman podcast, the YouTube algorithm for the most part is based on the title of your episode and the tags and whatnot, and also
first 10
what
people I think is what they actually screen for, if at all.
Oh, okay, heard. If okay, because I guess I don't know the extent to which surveilling, independent surveillance is a crime. I don't
think it is in public places.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And then
the other thing is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and because doorbell cameras are a thing. Now, if you're talking about Marty McFlying, or I guess whatever his dad's name was, George McFlying a situation, then probably not. But
probably not. Okay, so I'm not telling you to skim anyone's personal information, but I am saying that the more information that you are capable of logging on your own, probably the more powerful you are. Mm-hmm. So I would just start grabbing some numbers and crunch those numbers, no matter what they are. Okay, so those numbers can be pixels on the screen. They can be waveforms through a microphone. You know what I'm saying? They can be anything. Grab those numbers out there. Really get them.
Yeah, my favorite part of Instagram. I hate that fucking app. I hate most apps. I don't like apps.
It's poison. They are toxic.
I need an exclusive app. I need an app that lets me just talk to the elite. That's all I really want.
Hear me
The
out.
elite, and then also monitoring fly honeys in my area.
I
Preferably without them knowing, but with them knowing. Winky face. I don't know.
this, hold on, so like, hear me out. I want to be able to talk to Mark Zuckerberg about how everyone in the neighborhood centimeters away from getting it. Just they are on the. They,
Please tell
you
me
are the
that Mark
cliff. They're
Zuckerberg
standing.
met his wife by being the first of the first person to DM somebody that they used to go to school with through Facebook.
That's, you know what. That's probably the tactic. I want to be able to chat. I want to be able to tell. Is Larry Page the Google dude?
I don't know.
Ah, dude. Okay, so anyway, never mind. I want to be able to tell. Who do I want to be able to tell? I would like to be able to tell Elon. I would like to be able to tell Eric Weinstein. I'd like to be able to talk to them about how just John, didn't you have John apparently has made new developments in the area of baby bottling theory and application.
So yeah, if we're talking about a four-dimensional manifold, at what point does it need to get a gyno appointment?
No, we're talking about. I want to be able to talk to Lex Friedman about the way that you use an artificial general intelligence to interpret the magnitude of the fields of receiving this deck or something. I don't know.
At what point does the wave function collapse and we're able to call something truly wavy? I don't know.
I don't know. I've come to like Lex Friedman more in the recent past, just because he really does seem to be. I don't know. He does seem to be like. He's definitely he's kind of a robot, but he seems to be like a robot made in the spitting image of a human person.
Lex is also such an interesting name because like when I hear that, I think like for some reason like Roman emperor type shit. Like
Oh no, true. It's
like
very powerful.
Because I guess like that's probably like Rex or something, right? Like king, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I guess
sounds
I
nice.
assume that I've always assumed that his Lex was short for Alexander, and
That's
that his
entirely
father's
possible.
name is also Alexander.
That
so
makes
he just
sense. That makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Because his dad looks like Einstein. His dad does look like Einstein.
Oh, you're talking about my friend Sex Friedman. He went on Whitney Cummings' podcast and talked about the baby bottle.
I would know. Like, I suppose that I don't know. Yeah, I wonder. I don't know what the loosest Lex has been on air is, but I would be very curious about the sex life of Lex Friedman because, like, it can't be none.
I think
right?
he's in the I don't kiss and tell category.
I'm sure.
But he is. I think his biggest criticism of like most culture war shit, he's like, this discussion reeks of people who have never been laid. Like it's like I like listen. I don't think like we need to have endless conversations about I don't know, like inclusivity, but equity, fairness, at least in my department. But hey man, like
hey,
don't make it harder for the rest of us to get.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to write an algorithm to rewire human programming just because you made it fucking hard for the rest of us to start a family.
Yeah, no, exactly. Pretty soon, do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand how many lines of code it takes me to get these honeys adrift? Do you have the lines it takes? Do you know Do you know how expensive the GPU is necessary to simulate the lines that I will DM someone?
Do you
Do
know
you
how
know the
much
matrices
personal data
involved?
I need to mine like Bitcoin to come up with a good pickup line?
I and so I guess I do want to clarify that the reason that I do occasionally think about Lex Friedman's sex life isn't, I guess I'm less concerned about the extent to which Lex Friedman crushes pussy in like a
Mhm.
very hyper masculine sort of
Of
way.
course, yeah.
But I think that I think that I would fuck Lex Friedman if I were a human woman. I think that I would very immediately.
Yeah.
To the
Data,
extent that like
data scientist, MIT. Well, actually, no. I don't. Is he still? I don't under. Is he at that institution or is he just like? I don't understand
is he
because
like a celebrated alumnus or something? I don't know.
I think that he left it to start his current work, but I think he still works with them. So it may be similar, I guess, to the organization you're working with, in that it's not Ohio State, but it works with Ohio State or something,
Mhm.
like something to that effect. But
And that's a good question. That's a good question. Oh yes, but this is all to say that
mhm.
I bet that if I were Lex Friedman, I would be better at having sex. That is my and that's my that's I don't even think that's a hot take. I think that's a really cold one.
Also,
And
like
that's yeah, yes, yes.
I'm thinking about Moxie Marlin spiking. I'm thinking about the level of being good at your job it takes to be a successful tech programmer and still have white boy dreads.
This is oh
And
jeez, that's a good
should
question.
Lex Friedman ever really dominate his field, I think he needs to go for it. I think he needs.
I honestly
Yeah,
that
it's bad.
I'm imagining like I think that he should go. I think that he should go lower. I think that he should go even more aerodynamic. I want him to look like John Bernthal playing the Punisher a little
Yeah.
bit.
So what you're saying is he should really just take whatever supplement Rogan uses. And
Not necessarily. I think I want him to beat me to the punch of seamlessly integrating a training AI into his daily life. You know what I mean? I want him to be more. I want to be able to fantasize about being Lex Friedman more. Like, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to less.
I want to put my earbuds into the clubhouse meeting and pretend that I'm speaking when when he's in the room.
That's what you do in Clubhouse. I feel like, because I was thinking the other day about how like I was going to. It was in like the middle of the night, and I was like, "Fuck, John, we should see if we can get you a foundation invite. Imagine if you had an invite to an exclusive NFT auction platform. Wouldn't that be neat?" And probably worthless. Well, not worthless. Probably worth like a couple thousand bucks. You know what I'm saying? If we could do some digital art, probably worth a couple thousand bucks. You know, probably right. But what like because I guess I do like the in my own self I think that there is utility in well scratch that yeah I think that there's definitely utility in being on these exclusive applications, but I think that most people use them to do what you described. They close their eyes and they pretend they are speaking because I don't know like though I think there is utility, I don't know what I would say on Clubhouse that I thought was worth anything. Like, what am I gonna like? Hey, Lex, what do you think I should do, man? About like this one. I'm working on this project, man, and I'm like, I don't understand this Python syntax. Can
How
you,
do you
you
how
know,
do you deal with burnout or I don't
yeah.
know, like imposter syndrome?
Like, what do you think that I should do? You know, like, and so,
Oh
like,
my god! Yeah, just then leave quietly.
yeah, just like you just yeah. But so I like I don't know. I guess I would
I
probably
like that
like
you covered your camera even though there's no video. So it's
oh
just
no
like the
never
equivalent's just like
no yeah yeah like you realize you like you're silent for a long time. You realize they can hear you breathing and you
oh no, I had that happen in
but
a class. I was the teacher was like, "Do you have a question?" I was like, "No." My mic was just unmuted. It Wasn't anything bad, but he was just like, yeah, heard a crackle
No, fair,
crackle.
fair. I do prefer. I don't know. That's something that I think could be like like I think if I had some kind of like wearable button where I could like raise my eyebrows twice and then be unmuted, that would be really sick. I would pay money for that. Well, I would spend an absurd amount of my time
Oh,
developing that.
raising
Um,
eyebrows unmuted is not good in a Zoom call for me because when I have like my, well, I guess yeah, it depends. When I have my video on, I try so hard not to be like reactive to people in
mhm.
the audience, but when I have it off, I'm ripping my earbuds out. I'm going, what the fuck are you saying? Like yeah, or
Fair,
just like
fair. So
I don't know,
no, this is true.
cringing.
Probably, yeah,
Hmm.
a different button, truly. I wonder, like, hmm, I don't know. I really don't know. I think like I was trying to well I guess I was still trying to come up with like a satisfying conclusion of what you would even say to like I don't know like how do you create wealth like what do you like hi
Hmm.
I don't know because I
Or
guess that is
like,
like the
yeah.
yeah because I guess if you were to ask someone who is rich and or powerful what like because I yeah the question is essentially what can I do for my position that would make you likely to give me some of your money because that's what we're talking about right now.
Hmm.
Where's your money going so I can catch some of it?
I
I
like
guess.
I like some of the business stuff I've heard from like Tom Segura, where he's like his managers or agents will be like, "So can we get involved in like podcasting with you?" And he's like, "I mean, what are you bringing to the table?" Like, and they'll be
Mhm.
like yeah, like what do you think you can do for me that is different than what I'm already doing?